know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.
Following on from one of the greatest seasons in the club's history, Alex Stock's men had another incredible season as we pushed to win promotion to the First Division for the first time in our history. This five-part series will look at what happened during this great season for the club. October began on a bright sunny day with Bolton visiting Loftus Road. Rangers made a few changes with Bobby Keach replacing Ron Hunt at the back. Keith Sanderson returned in midfield as Mark Lazarus missed the game. Les Allen was left out, replaced by young Alan Wilks, who had turned 21 years old just a few days earlier, and he celebrated that birthday, scoring the only goal in a 1-0 win. The next round of the League Cup saw a return to the team for Les Allen and Ron Hunt as we faced Oxford United at Loftus Road. Alan Wilks kept his place in the side and he made it a memorable night, becoming the first and only player in our history to score 5 goals in one game. An outstanding achievement, and fans began to believe that Wilks was going to be a superstar for the team. He had finished the previous season with 4 goals in 5 games, and here he was now with 6 goals in 2 games. Sadly, he never really fulfilled that early promise, but should be remembered for that remarkable night, scoring 5 goals in a single game. A 2-0 defeat at Hull followed, which knocked the confidence a bit, and that was quickly followed by another London derby against Millwall at Loftus Road. Mark Lazarus was back in the side, and Rangers produced an excellent performance to beat their South London opponents. Roger Morgan, Mike Keane and Les Allen all on the score sheet in a 3-1 win. And that win set up the big game up at Blackpool, who were an impressive side pushing for promotion. It was a tight game, but QPR were able to meet the challenge. Les Allen scored the only goal of the game and took us back to the top of the table. October came to an end with the next round of the League Cup and a trip north to face top flight Burnley, who were a very good side in those days. QPR was still missing Rodney Marsh, and both Mick Leach and Alan Wilks had joined them in the treatment room, so it was a patched up side making the trip to Turf Moor. Ian Morgan partnered Les Allen up front, whilst young defender Frank Sibley played in midfield. Burnley took an early lead, but Sibley equalised as QPR fought hard to try and retain the trophy that they had won a few months earlier. Burnley took the lead again in the second half, but Rangers pushed hard, refusing to give up. Ron Hunt had a great chance to equalise and force a replay, but his header went over the bar. That was it. QPR were out of the League Cup. Any dreams of another League and Cup double were over. It was hardly doom and gloom though. We'd ended October top of the league. Alan Wilks was now top goal scorer with 6 goals. Mick Leach and Les Allen both had 5. The goals were not flowing as easily as they had the previous season, but it was a hell of a start going into November, when a certain number 10 was set to return. Our league game against Blackburn was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch at Loftus Road, but all eyes were on a trip to Southend a few days later, not for a league or cup match, but the reserve team were in action, and over 3,000 QPR fans made the trip down to Southend, as it was made clear that Rodney Marsh would be returning to action after a long layoff. QPR fans greeted their hero like a rock star, and he of course scored on his return. A crowd of 5,000 saw the next reserve game, again against Southend, with Rodney scoring again in a 3-1 win at Loftus Road. He wasn't quite ready for the first team yet, so after a 2-week break without a league game, it was a long trip north to face Carlisle, and not a great day really for QPR. Frank Sibley scored again, but it was a 3-1 defeat, and we dropped down to 4th in the table. It was now time though for the return of Rodney Marsh to the first team, in a midweek home game against Middlesbrough, who had been promoted by QPR the previous season. It didn't take long for the King to make his mark, as Rodney Marsh opened the scoring after just 3 minutes with a close-range effort. It proved to be a tough night though, and Borough fought back to earn a 1-1 draw. It was proving to be a difficult month, as Rangers made it 4 games without a win, losing 1-0 at Huddersfield, and dropped down to 5th in the table. And it also proved to be a sad day for the team, as Frank Sibley suffered a knee injury which ended his season. It also turned out to be the last appearance for QPR for Mark Lazarus, who left to join Crystal Palace for £10,000. Lazarus had 3 spells at QPR, playing 235 times for the club, scoring 84 goals. A great winger, popular with the fans, and will never be forgotten after scoring that winning goal in the League Cup final. His departure was certainly the end of an era. The departure of Lazarus saw a rejig of the team. Ian Morgan moved to the wing with Les Allen dropping into midfield. Alan Wilks returned up front alongside Rodney Marsh, and Ipswich Town were the visitors. They were another side pushing hard for promotion. An early goal from Rodney Marsh was all that separated the two sides as we got back to winning ways. It was another team in the promotion race next as we travelled to Birmingham City, who QPR had absolutely thrashed in the League Cup semi-final the previous season. Birmingham were in no mood for a repeat of that one here, and they ran out 2-0 winners. The match against Blackburn was then rearranged as Keith Sanderson returned to the team, and he helped us to an impressive performance as we returned to form. Marsh was in fine form up front as he began to regain his match fitness. He made it 3 goals for the season as he opened the scoring before goals from Sanderson and Wilks made it 3-1 to Rangers. Portsmouth next for QPR, and the match of the day cameras were back in W12 for this one. An unchanged QPR side, and a win would take us back into the automatic promotion places.
Hazel to take the free kick for Rangers. And it's a goal! Yes, scored by Ian Morgan. Tyndall feeling then that Morgan had handled it. The other Morgan with the corner, and that's the second goal, scored by Keane. And he scored umpteen like that.
There was a lot of travelling for the team over Christmas. A trip to Norwich on December 23rd was a hard-fought 0-0 draw, and it was then down to Plymouth on Boxing Day, where 16-year-old Mick McGovern made his debut in place of the injured Alan Wilks. With the game heading for another 0-0 draw, Rodney Marsh broke into the penalty area and collapsed in a heap to win a penalty, which the locals felt was a blatant dive. Mike Keane converted the penalty for a 1-0 win, which sparked crowd trouble, with QPR coaches getting their windows smashed. Due to that incident, it probably wasn't ideal that the two sides met again just a few days later. The last game of 1967, and Rangers went out with a bang. Rodney Marsh and Mike Keane both scoring twice, as QPR produced a wonderful performance to win 4-1, and then an unbelievable year at the top of the league. A year where QPR had won 32 of their 52 games they'd played, and won a League Cup, a promotion, and were backing up with a strong promotion push. It has to go down as one of the greatest ever calendar years in the club's history. Alan Wilks remained top goal scorer with 7 goals. Captain Mike Keane had 6, whilst Rodney Marsh, Les Allen and Mick Leach all had 5 with half a season to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Coming up next time, the push for promotion continues with a top of the table clash against promotion rivals Blackpool.